All right, welcome into the Los Angeles Lakers report. I'm Chase Senior with Chat Sports, coming to you from my apartment because we have some breaking news to get to here on this Sunday, and it's significant. And it's something that we've been talking about possibly happening for the last couple of weeks. Now it's going to be made official. According to Andre Drummond's agent, Jeff Schwartz, once he clears waivers at 5 o'clock Eastern tonight, he intends on signing a deal with the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, how did we get to this point? On Friday, Drummond and the Cavaliers agreed to a buyout. That made him a free agent, and he was free to sign with any team. And since he last played his last game with the Cavaliers back on February 12th, the rumors of the Lakers' interest in Drummond and his interest in the Lakers has been pretty hot. That's why we've covered it so much here on the Los Angeles Lakers report. Now, the Cavaliers tried to find a trade partner for Drummond, but they couldn't find a suitor because his salary this year, it's pretty hefty, $28+ million. So the Lakers took a little bit of a risk. They didn't give up any assets to trade for him on NBA trade deadline day. Instead, Rob Pelinka and co decided to wait it out. And now they get a center who's in the heart of his prime, a two-time All-Star, and they didn't have to give up any assets to get him. So this is a nice addition for the Lakers. They're getting a really good player, a player that they need considering their front court situation, and they didn't have to give up any players to do so. So I know Lakers fans have been fired up about the possibility of this happening. Hop into the comment section. Give me your one-word reaction to Drummond signing with the Lakers. For me, a much-needed move that really helps them out with AD and LeBron out. And I think Andre Drummond is going to be able to give this Lakers team a lot coming down the stretch here as they try to make a second consecutive run for a championship. Now, according to Woj, Lakers star players, front office members with the Lakers, they've been recruiting Drummond hard for the last couple of weeks, and they've sold him on the opportunity to step into the defending champion starting rotation. And you look at what has happened with the Lakers at the center spot, they've gotten inconsistent play from Marc Gasol and Montrezl Harrell this year. The injury to Anthony Davis didn't help matters at all, and they really like the prospects of Drummond's ability to protect the paint and rebound. And the Lakers thought that he could have a significant impact. Obviously, Drummond saw the same, and that's why he's going to sign this deal. Now, the Lakers weren't the only team interested in Drummond. There were a couple of others, according to Woj. The Clippers, the Knicks, Celtics, Hornets, and other teams were also interested in bringing him in, but Drummond now, he hops on board the Lakers, and they get a really good player. And one of the reasons why I like this move is it gives the Lakers a lot of lineup versatility. So you look at the Lakers' potential starting lineup with Andre Drummond in there, with LeBron and AD healthy, Dennis Schroeder at the 1, KCP at the 2, LeBron at the 3, and Anthony Davis at the 4 with Drummond at the 5. What this also does is come playoff time, depending on the matchup, depending on the team, the Lakers can switch up these lineups. If you want to go small, AD can play the 5. If you want to go big, Drummond can play center, protect the paint, and rebound the basketball at an elite level. Or if you need a little floor spacing, Marc Gasol can come in. He can play the 5. He can knock down some threes, give you a little bulk defensively. And then if you want to go small again, get a little burst of energy and have more of a scoring presence, Montrezl Harrell can slide in at the 5 spot, even though his natural position is 4, and Montrezl Harrell can play the 5. So a bunch of lineup versatility and a bunch of different lineups that Frank Vogel can trot out there depending on the team and the matchup. That's why I really like this move. So let me know how you're feeling about this Lakers team, this Lakers roster. I want you to grade the Lakers roster now with Andre Drummond signing this deal with AD and LeBron healthy. Give me an A, B, C, D, or F. I'm going to go A-. I think this lineup is really legit. Again, stating that versatility gives the Lakers a lot of different options. What has Drummond done this year? Why have teams been interested? Well, hasn't played since February 12th because him and the Cleveland Cavaliers agreed that they were going to try to find a trade partner, and they were going to end his time in Cleveland. 25 games, 17.5 points per night, 13.5 rebounds, and he'll give you about a block per game. The reasons to like this move, in addition to the Lakers' lineup versatility, I think Andre Drummond can come in, he can demand and control the paint, and he can do that both offensively and defensively. He's also a fantastic rebounder, one of the best in the league, has really good instincts when it comes to that. And while he's not the most athletic big that can get out to the perimeter, Andre Drummond is going to be able to alter and block shots in the trenches. He's also a really high effort player. And in the pick and rolls, offensively, him and Schroeder, KCP, maybe LeBron when he's playing point, Andre Drummond with a head of steam heading to the basket on pick and rolls, really like the potential of that as well. Downsides of the move, because we have to discuss those as well. When Andre Drummond has to go up against athletic bigs, he can get picked apart when he has to play against athletic centers on pick and pops, or if those centers are athletic enough and have the shooting ability to kind of roam around the perimeter. Andre Drummond doesn't have the most burst, not the quickest feet. He might struggle to get out there and defend some of those shots. So he's going to get targeted on some pick and rolls. There's no doubt about it, especially against some of the more athletic centers in the league. He's also not going to stretch the floor. We're in an era of the NBA right now where a lot of bigs can hit threes from a consistent clip from the outside. Andre Drummond, he's not one of the new age centers. He's a little bit of an old school big, so he's not going to knock down threes at a crazy rate. Maybe he'll attempt one or two here and there. And something to monitor here. What is Frank Vogel going to do at the end of games with Andre Drummond? Because he's not a good free throw shooter. He shoots less than 60% from the line. So that could hurt the Lakers late if other teams decide to foul him, or if he gets fouled at the line in a close game, he's not too reliable from the free throw line. But that's why this lineup versatility is so important, because if you're not comfortable with Andre Drummond late, if you have a matchup where you're going up against a guy like Joel Embiid, Anthony Davis in the finals would be able to cover a player like that to make up for the deficiencies of Andre Drummond's defensive abilities. For Andre Drummond, he has to be elated and thrilled with this. Why? He spent 8 years in Detroit. He spent 2 years in Cleveland. And throughout his career coming out of UConn, he's only played in a total of 8 career playoff games. Now he gets to sign with a title contender. He gets to play alongside one of the greatest basketball players of all time in LeBron James. And he also gets to match up at the 4 and 5 spot alongside Anthony Davis, which I think will take less pressure off of him offensively, and he'll be able to thrive. So all of those are huge wins for Andre Drummond. As for his future, what's going to happen beyond this year? He's going to be a free agent this offseason. And according to some reports, according to some who know Andre Drummond pretty well, he's going to have a market and he's going to want to get paid. It's been rumored that the Knicks have interest in Drummond. They could use a center to pair him up with Julius Randle. And the Knicks also have cap space. So with a team like the Knicks, who have a need, who have some money to spend, will they overpay for a guy who's 27 years old and has made 2 All-Star games and is one of the better centers in the league? That's something to look after. Is he going to re-sign with the Lakers? If he does, he would have to take a significant pay cut. Let me know what you think. Play general manager for me. Step into the shoes of Rob Pelinka. If you're running the Lakers, do you sign Andre Drummond after this year? Get into the comments, type Y for yes or type N for no. In addition to Andre Drummond being a winner, I think the Lakers are too. Everybody's been hyping up the Nets buyout signings of Blake Griffin and LaMarcus Aldridge. They look at that lineup and they're like, oh my goodness, Kyrie Irving, James Harden, Kevin Durant, Blake Griffin, LaMarcus Aldridge. Let's get a grip on things. That is a great lineup and a great team 7 years ago. The signings for Brooklyn, bringing in Aldridge and Griffin, 2 guys who the Lakers could have signed, they're minor deals for me because Aldridge and Griffin are way past their primes. At this point, they're reserve players, and that's really it. On the Lakers side, they don't sign Aldridge, they don't sign Griffin, and instead they get a 27-year-old who's a 2-time All-Star, who's in the heart of his prime. He's on an expiring contract. The win the window to win a championship is this year, but if they want to re-sign him, they can do that as well, knowing that he still has a lot of good basketball in him. Whereas Aldridge and Griffin, I think they're kind of cooked. And this also helps the Lakers stay afloat with LeBron expected to be out anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks, potentially more, and without AD for the foreseeable future. So they'll need Andre Drummond from the get-go to put up numbers like he did in Cleveland, 17.5 points per night, 13.5 rebounds. He's not going to put up those numbers when LeBron and AD are back. But with those two out, Andre Drummond certainly brings a great offensive presence for a team that has lacked that. And he is fully capable of putting up big numbers without LeBron and AD. And right now, as we end this thing, Lakers 4th place in the West, 29-17, 5-5 in their last 10 games. You watch them since LeBron got hurt last Saturday. They're in need of a presence like Andre Drummond, and they get it. Basically not giving up anything at all. They'll just sign him to a contract that will expire after this year. What's next for the Lakers? Are they going to be active on the buyout market following the signing of Andre Drummond? Possibly. A name I want you all to keep an eye out for, maybe Wayne Ellington. They could really use a shooter, especially coming off the bench. Now, Wayne Ellington has not been bought out by the Detroit Pistons, but if he is, expect the Lakers to have some interest because they could use a lethal shooter from the outside. This has been the Los Angeles Lakers Report by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe because if breaking news like this happens, even if we're at the crib, we're going to bring you the latest.